Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining this presentation on hazard identification, risk assessment and control, commonly referred to as HIRAC within the Australian construction industry. In this session, we'll explore what HIRAC is, why it is critically important, and how it is applied in real construction environments to manage risk and ensure worker safety. HIRAC stands for Hazard Identification, Risk Assessment and Control. It is a structured and systemic process used to identify potential hazards in the workplace, assess the level of risk associated with those hazards, and implement appropriate control measures to eliminate or minimise those risks. In the Australian construction industry, HIRAC is not just best practice, it is an essential requirement for maintaining a safe and compliant workplace. The construction industry is widely recognised as one of the highest risk industries. Work sites are constantly changing, multiple contractors are often working simultaneously, and there are numerous high-risk activities taking place at any given time. HIRAC plays a vital role in reducing the workplace injuries and fatalities, improving overall safety performance and protecting businesses from legal and financial consequences. In Australia, HIRAC is closely linked to workplace health and safety legislation. Employers and duty holders are legally required to identify hazards, assess risks, and implement controls to ensure the health and safety of workers. By applying HIRAC, organisations demonstrate due diligence and compliance with these legal obligations, helping to prevent incidents before they occur. There are several important reasons why HIRAC is used in the construction industry. Firstly, it ensures compliance with workplace health and safety laws and regulations. Secondly, it helps prevent injuries by identifying hazards before they cause harm. It also provides and improves productivity by reducing disruptions caused by incidents. In addition, it enhances a company's reputation and supports continuous improvement through regular review and refinement of safety processes. A hazard is any source, situation or activity that has the potential to cause harm. In construction, hazards can take many forms. These include physical hazards like working at heights, electrical risks and moving machinery, as well as chemical hazards, biological risks and even psychosocial factors such as fatigue or stress. Identifying these hazards is the first and most critical step in preventing incidents. Risk refers to the likelihood that a hazard will result in harm, combined with the severity of the harm. In simple terms, risk is about how likely something is to go wrong and how serious the consequences would be if it does. Understanding risk helps us prioritise which hazards need the most urgent attention. The first step in the HIRAC process is hazard identification. This involves actively looking for anything that could cause harm in the workplace. It includes conducting site inspections, consulting with workers and supervisors, reviewing incident reports, and examining safe work method statements. Effective hazard identification relies on both observation and communication. Some of the most common hazards in construction include working at heights, operating mobile plant and machinery, exposure to electrical hazards, manual handling tasks, excavations and trenching, hazardous substances such as silica dust, confined space and fatigue. Recognising these hazards is essential for effective risk management. The second step is risk assessment.
Top 10 hazards of a construction site. Construction is one of the most high-risk industries in Australia. Whether you're working on a residential build, commercial development or infrastructure project, the dangers are real and often avoidable. Let's break down the top 10 hazards on a construction site and why proper white card training with Skills Training College can help protect you and your team. Number 1, falls from heights. Falls are the leading cause of fatalities on construction sites. This includes falling off scaffolds, ladders, rooftops, or through fragile surfaces. Even a fall from just a couple of metres can cause serious head, spine, or internal injuries. Using harnesses, guardrails, and following safe work method statements isn't optional, it's essential. Number 2, slips, trips, and falls. It sounds simple, but slips and trips account for a huge number of injuries. Unsecured tools, wet surfaces, loose cables, uneven ground, all of these can send someone to hospital with a broken bone or worse. Good housekeeping, clear pathways, and constant awareness go a long way. Moving plant and machinery. Heavy vehicles and machinery like excavators, cranes, and forklifts are everywhere on a construction site. Blind spots, swinging loads, and reversing equipment can cause crushing injuries and deaths if proper exclusion zones and spotters aren't in place. Always stay alert and stay out of the line of fire. Number 4, electrical hazards. Live power lines, exposed cables, damaged tools. Electricity is an invisible hazard. It only takes one contact with a live wire to suffer serious burns or fatal shock. Always assume wires are live until tested. Use licensed electricians and inspect all tools and cords before use. Number 5, falling objects. Drop tools, loose materials, or unsecured equipment from above can fall and cause serious head injuries. Workers below may not see it coming until it's too late. Hard hats save lives, but preventing the fall in the first place is even better. Always secure tools and materials when working at heights. Number 6, confined spaces. Silos, tanks, pits and crawl spaces are often oxygen deprived or filled with toxic gases. Entering without proper ventilation, permits and monitoring can be fatal. Never work in confined spaces unless you're trained, equipped and following procedures. Number 7, hazardous substances. From asbestos to silica dust to chemical solvents. Hazardous materials are common on work sites. Exposure can cause long-term respiratory conditions, skin burns or even cancer. Read safety data sheets, wear the correct PPE and always follow handling procedures. Number 8, noise exposure. Noise from drills, jackhammers, and heavy equipment doesn't just make it hard to talk, it can permanently damage your hearing. The risk increases the longer you're exposed without protection. Always wear hearing protection and limit time spent in high noise zones when possible. Number 9, manual handling injuries. Lifting, bending, and carrying materials the wrong way can cause muscle strain, back injury, or hernias. These type of injuries build up over time and can end your career early. Use proper lifting techniques, mechanical aids, and work in pairs for heavier loads. Number 10, fatigue and poor communication. Long hours, heat, and tight deadlines can lead to exhaustion and mistakes. When you're tired, you're more likely to miss hazards, make errors, or zone out at the wrong time. Clear communication and proper rest breaks are vital for a safe and productive site. Construction safety starts with awareness, but it doesn't end there. To legally work on any construction site in Australia, you need to complete white card training. White card training equips you with the knowledge to recognise hazards, reduce risk, and follow site safety protocols before you even step onto the work site. At Skills Training College, we offer nationally accredited white card courses that you get your job ready fast. Delivered by experienced trainers, our courses are practical, straightforward, and available across Australia. Book your white card course today at skillstrainingcollege.com.au, get certified, stay compliant, and build a safer future for you and your crew.
The second step is risk assessment. This involves evaluating each identified hazard to determine how likely it is to cause harm and how severe that harm could be. It is important to remember that while control measures can reduce likelihood, the potential consequence of hazard remains the same.
Prevent a worker from being smacked by a bulldozer or a worker inhaling large amounts of toxic chemicals. You perform a risk assessment. In today's video, we're unraveling 5 steps you need to perform a thorough risk assessment. Let's get started. A risk assessment is aimed to make sure that everyone in the workplace does not get hurt or become ill. As an employer, you should conduct risk assessments to determine what the risks are in your workplace. As a worker, you can participate in risk assessments which can help aid you in identifying hazards. All right, enough chit-chat. What are the steps? Step 1, identify the hazards. Look around the workplace and think about what has the potential to cause harm. Think about physical, health, biological, and ergonomic hazards. Also, consider the types of people performing tasks where you identified hazards. Are some workers more at risk than others? Step 2. Assess the risks. Once the hazards have been identified, decide how likely it is that someone could be harmed and how serious it can be. Some key decision factors include who might be harmed and how, what actions are already in place to control the risks, what further action is needed to control the risks, who needs to carry out the action, and when the action is needed by. Step 3. Control the risks. Look at what you're already doing and the controls that are already in place. Ask yourself questions like, can I get rid of the hazard altogether? If I can't, how can I control the risks to reduce injuries? If further controls are needed, consider redesigning the job, replacing materials, machinery, or processes, organizing the work to reduce exposures, identifying and implementing practical measures needed to work safely, and providing safety equipment like personal protective equipment and ensuring workers wear it. Step 4. Record your findings. If you have 5 or more employees, you are required to record significant findings, including the hazards, who may be harmed and how, and what you are doing to control the hazards. When you record your findings, be sure to include any evidence you've taken into account, everyone who can be affected, and their risk level of the hazards. You should also include measures that are already in place to control the hazards and any additional measures needed. The records must also include any further action you need to do and the date of when you intend to implement these actions. Step 5. Review the controls. Once you implement controls, you need to review them to ensure they're working. You also need to review them if they may no longer be effective or there are changes in the workplace that may lead to new risks. Also, review controls if workers have reported issues or problems, such as accidents or near misses. Always update your risk assessment record when changes have been made. All right, that's a wrap. We hope this video has provided you with valuable insight that you can take to help make the workplace safer. I'm Brooklyn with JJ Safety. Thanks for watching.
For more information, visit us online at jjsafetyllc.
A risk matrix is a tool used to assess and categorize risks. It combines likelihood and consequence to produce a risk rating, typically classified as low, medium, high, or extreme. This helps organisations prioritise which risks require immediate action and which can be monitored. This slide shows a more detailed construction risk matrix. This is the risk matrix we use at Saltair. It provides a structured framework for evaluating risks and ensuring consistency in how hazards are assessed across the project. The third step is eliminating risk controls, or implementing risk controls. This is done by using the hierarchy of controls, which ranks control measures from most effective to least effective. The goal is always to eliminate the hazard where possible, rather than relying on less effective control measures like PPE. The hierarchy of controls includes elimination, substitution, engineering controls, administrative controls, and personal protective equipment. Elimination removes the hazard entirely, while PPE is used as the last line of defence when other controls cannot be fully mitigated or fully mitigate the risk at hand. In practice, identifying hazards involves a combination of site inspections, team discussions, and reviewing previous project data. It is important to consider not only safety risks, but also environmental and operational factors that could impact the project. Risk assessment in practice involves determining both the likelihood and potential impact of each hazard. This allows teams to prioritise risks and focus resources on the most critical issues. Once risks have been assessed, appropriate control measures must be developed. This should follow the hierarchy of controls and aim to eliminate or minimise the hazards as much as possible. After developing controls, they must be implemented effectively. This includes assigning responsibilities, providing training and ensuring clear communication across all workers, subcontractors and stakeholders. HIRARC is not a one-time process. It requires continuous monitoring and reviewing. Regular inspections and updates ensure that controls remain effective and that new risks are identified as conditions change. For example, when working at heights, the hazard is the risk of falling. This could result in serious injury or fatality. Controls may include installing guardrails as an engineering control and using fall arrest systems as personal protective equipment. Monitoring involves conducting regular site inspections, reviewing incidents and updating HIRARC documentation when conditions change. Accurate documentation is essential for effective HIRARC implementation. This includes safe work method statements, risk assessments, training records, consultation records and incident reports. HIRARC aligns with key Australian legislation including Workplace Health and Safety Act 2011, Workplace Health and Safety Regulations and Safe Work Australia Codes of Practice. These frameworks require a systemic approach to managing workplace risks. Continuous improvement is achieved through toolbox talks, ongoing communication and regularly reviewing and refining control measures. In conclusion, HIRARC is a critical component of construction safety. It helps prevent injuries and fatalities, ensuring compliance with legal requirements and promotes a strong safety culture. By applying HIRARC effectively, organisations can create safer, more productive workplaces. Thank you.